Account View. Training Video 3. In this training session, we will look at system administration software, and particularly the operation and procedures of database updates. We will discuss using the tools developed for doing the updates, named the Database Conversion Utility software. Account View. Data Conversion and Migration Utility. The Consumer Information System forms the base data of the full account view system. This database consists of consumer information and consumer account transactional history. This data is maintained and managed by the data center in Baghdad. The account view consumer information system and all of its modules relies on this data to perform all of its operations and calculates, amongst others, various performance indicators. The billing database, maintained by Data Center in Baghdad, changes regularly as new bills are being calculated and consumer payments made. The account view consumer information system database needs to be regularly updated with this new data. The account view consumer information system database conversion utility is a set of software tools that is developed to enable the system administrator to update the new datacenter data to the account view database on a regular, typically monthly basis. This training session describes the account view database conversion utility and all of its components, as well as provides a step-by-step guide to perform monthly data conversions. It is important to point out that this software system must be used by qualified information technology staff who are specifically trained for performing these procedures. The data center in Baghdad provides data as Excel spreadsheet files that contain the following information: consumer information, billing information, and payment information. These spreadsheet files forms the beginning of the data conversion and migration process. We will now discuss source data formats. The billing data update information is contained in two spreadsheets, consisting of billing transactions and payment transactions. The billing file fields are account number, districts number, address, street number, house number, billing date, unit amount, meter number, tariff, others amount, and account balance after transaction. The payment file fields are districts number, tariff class, release date, account number, type, date before, date after, closing date, previous reading, amount, and units. The initial version of the account view consumer information system, database conversion utility software, uploads these two formats of data. It is likely that these data formats will be expanded in future as new formats from different billing database files becomes available. In this section we will discuss the procedure to prepare the initial data files as being received from the data center. Please note that all the procedures discussed in this training video will be performed directly on the server where the system main database is resident. These are the two files received from the data center. The first file contains the billing transactions. The second contains the payment transactions. We will first open the payment file. These files are big, and it may sometimes appear as if the system became unresponsive. Once the payments file opens, the first action is to find the number of transactions. This will be used when we do the conversion to make sure all transactions has been processed. Select the account number column and press the End keyboard button and then the down arrow keyboard button. This will move the spreadsheet cursor down to the last record in the file. The row number -1 is the total number of records in the file. In this case it is 13,067. The next step is to export the data as a text file. This is a suitable format for the conversion system to read the data. This is done by selecting the File menu item and then the Save As function. From the Options drop-down box, select the Text option. Finally, click on the Save button, and allow some time for the export function to complete. Close Excel. Please note that the payments.txt file has been created. We will now follow the same process for converting the billing spreadsheet file to a text file. Double-click on the icon of spreadsheet file containing the billing transactions. Select the account number column and press the End keyboard button and then the down arrow keyboard button. The billing file contains a considerable number of records, more than the payment file, and the process to find the last transaction may take several minutes. That is why it is preferable to do this procedure directly on the server. When this training video was made, more than a minute of the processing time was removed. The row number -1 is the total number of records in the file. In this case it is 55,478. We will now do the export to text process for the billing transactions, following the same process that we followed for the payments file. Again, this process may take some considerable time. When completed, close Excel. Please note the billing.txt file that has been created. This brings us to the end of the preparing the source data section. In this section we will discuss the procedure to do the conversion from the created text files to finally add it to the account view consumer information system database. Please note that it is mandatory that all of the procedures discussed in this section will be performed directly on the server where the system main database is resident. This is a requirement since the conversion software is a desktop application that directly interacts with the database server. We start by running the installed acntviewdataconv1.exe file installed on the server. The conversion program main window will open. At the same time the system will connect to the database server. In the highly unlikely situation that connection to the database cannot be established, error messages will be displayed, and the conversion process will not be enabled. Large tables with multiple columns will be displayed. It is therefore advised to maximize the window. The system main window consists of the following areas. A general display area. This area consists of 5 different views. Each of these views represent a different stage of conversion, and will be selected during the different stages of the conversion process. A menu button has been pointed out. The menu is context sensitive, and its contents change during the different stages of the conversion. Data file name. The name of the present input file is displayed in this area. We will now do all the steps required to do the data conversion for one district. Step 1. Confirm that the first display tab, Input Data Memo, is selected. Step 1. Load the previously prepared text file into the system. Confirm that the first display tab, Input Data Memo, is selected. If not, select it by click on the tab as indicated. Click on the Show Menu button to open the menu. Click on the Select and Load Input File to Memo menu item. The file selection dialog box will open as pointed out. We will now select one of the previous created text files to be loaded. It is advisable that the billing file is first loaded. This file should contain the most comprehensive list covering all consumers. Select the billing txt file as been pointed out. Double-click to start the loading process and to close the file selection box. These operations involve reading and manipulation of large amounts of data. After the process is initiated, it may take some time to complete the operation. During this time, it may appear that the system becomes unresponsive. Processing time depends on the hardware speed and available RAM and, thus, varies on technology used. Most of these operations will take less than 120 seconds. After a data file is read, its contents will be displayed in the text container. The data file loading has now been completed. The system display loaded data has been pointed out. Data is at this stage in a raw text format, and will be further processed during the next steps of the conversion process. The system is designed in such a way that it reminds the user of the next step. This reminder resides in the context-sensitive menu. To demonstrate this, open the menu. In this case, the only options we see in the menu is that of having the function of loading input files. But we know that we just loaded an input file. So there is nothing left on this menu to do. This is an indication that we must move to the following step. This menu logic is used throughout the system. We will now move to step 2. To do this, click on the Page tab as indicated. Step 2. Separate the text data into its respective fields, load into data grid, and do some initial pre-processing. Click on the Show Menu button to open the menu. Then click on the Convert Memo Data to Grid menu item as indicated. The Input Data view provides the function of separating text data from the input data window into its individual fields. The data is then displayed as a formatted text table. On initial opening, the input data may be blank or contain some data in case it was previously populated. This is still a text-based operation and will take some significant time. On completion of the conversion process, the input data window will present the data as indicated. We will now do some initial data pre-processing. We will now convert the Arabic tariff classes in column 10 into its corresponding index. Select the Show Menu button. Then select the Convert tar classes billing, col 10, menu item. The data in column 10 has now been converted into a numeric representation of the applicable tariff class for each transaction. We use the menu again to decide if there is any other functions that must be done. We can see that all possible functions for a billing data file has been done. We will therefore move on to the next step of the conversion process. Select the Raw Data tab to move to the next page. Step 3. Loading prepared data in the data grid into the database. The Raw Data window provides view of the Account View Consumer Information System database. Conversion data is initially stored after its first entrance into the Account View database. It also provides the functionality to upload the input data into the Account View database pre-processing table, and the raw data table, which is a standardized table serving as temporary store for uploaded data. It contains both consumer and transaction information and is the source for account view database updates. On initial opening, the raw data window may either be blank, or it may contain data from a previous conversion session. This table is in the account view database and data will be retained regardless of the status of the account view database conversion utility. It will stay in this table unless it is deleted with the clear all data table menu command. From an operational viewpoint, it does not matter if it was cleared or not after conversion. To start the loading process, select the Show Menu button. Select the Load from Input Data Grid menu item. This is still a text-based operation and will take some significant time. Up till now, all data was stored as text, and all data manipulations were text-based. After this conversion, data will reside in the account view database and will be handled by the database server. The process is completed. Please note the number of records corresponding to the original number of records we calculated in the spreadsheet. We confirm from the menu that we have completed all the processes for this step. Select the Consumers tab to move to the next page. Step 4. Insert data in the raw table into the Consumers database. Select the Show Menu button. And then select the Append Consumers from Raw Data menu item. This update was fully handled by the account view database server and a noticeable difference in processing speed will be noticed. On completion, a notification box is shown. The contents of this box is explained in the System Users Manual. Select the Transactions tab to continue to the next step. Step 5. Insert data in the raw table into the Transactions database. Select the Show Menu button. And then select the Append Transactions from Raw Data menu item. This update was fully handled by the account view database server and a noticeable difference in processing speed will be noticed. On completion, a notification box is shown. The contents of this box is explained in the System Users Manual. At this point, the data from the billing txt file is completely updated. We will now repeat the process for the transactions txt file. We prepare the system for the first step of conversion by selecting the Input Data tab. Select the Show Menu button to open the menu. Select the Select and Load Input File to Memo menu item. The File Selection dialog box will open. Select the previous prepared payments txt file as been pointed out. Double-click to start the loading process and to close the file selection box. The data file loading has now been completed, and is displayed as been pointed out. Data is at this stage in a raw text format, and will be further processed during the next steps of the conversion process. We will do the menu check to confirm that we can move on to the next step. We will now move to step 2. To do this, select the Page tab as indicated. Step 2. separate the text data into its respective fields, load into data grid, and do some initial pre-processing. Select the Show Menu button to open the menu. Then select the Convert Memo Data to Grid menu item as indicated. You will notice that the processing time is much shorter. This is because of the smaller size of the billing.txt file. Input data window presenting the data in table format. We will now convert the Arabic tariff classes in column 2 into its corresponding index. Select the Show Menu button. Then select the Convert tar classes billing, col 2, menu item. The data in column 2 has now been converted into a numeric representation of the applicable tariff class for each transaction. We will do the menu check to confirm that we can move on to the next step. Select the Raw Data tab to move to the next page. Step 3. Loading prepared data in the data grid into the database. To start the loading process, select the Show Menu button. Then, select the Load from Input Data Payments Type 1 menu item. This process will take some time, depending on the number of records. The number of records displayed here should correspond with the original number of records in the spreadsheet file. We confirm from the menu that we have completed all the processes for this step. Select the Consumers tab to move to the next page. Step 4. Insert data in the raw table into the Consumers database. Select the Show Menu button. And then select the Append Consumers from Raw Data menu item. This update was fully handled by the Account View database server, and a noticeable difference in processing speed will be noticed. On completion, a notification box is shown. The context of this box is explained in the System Users Manual. Select the Transactions tab to continue to the next step. Step 5. Insert data in the raw table into the Transactions database. Select the Show Menu button. And then select the Append Transactions from Raw Data menu item. This update was fully handled by the Account View database server, and a noticeable difference in processing speed will be noticed. On completion, a notification box is shown. The context of this box is explained in the System Users Manual. The update is now fully completed, except one final step that needs to be done at the end of any update series. Select the Show Menu button. And then select the Update Apps and Tariff Types menu item. On completion of the process, a notification box will be shown. Select the OK button to continue. At this point, the data from the payments.txt file is completely updated. With both the billing.txt and payments.txt files uploaded into the system, the update process is completed. The updated data is immediately available in the Account View Consumer Information System database. This brings us to the end of this training section. In this section we will discuss a method to verify that the data conversion process was successfully completed. To do this, you will need the following. You will need access to the Account View Consumers Information System, as well as the original billing and payment spreadsheet files. The process involves the following. That we will first identify a number of transactions in the spreadsheet files, and then find the converted entries in the Account View database. For convenience, we have preloaded and signed into the Account View system. On the Account View main page, select the Modules menu item, and then the CIS option. We then open the folder with the billing txt file and double-click to open Excel and load a selected file. We will move the cursor to the first record of a complete transaction entry as indicated. Copy the account number and change the active view to the Account View system. Paste the account number into the full list account number field of the Account View CRM operations window and press Enter. The selected account history is opened in the Transaction History detail area. Tab back to the spreadsheet and note the transaction date. Tab back to Account View and find the transaction at the corresponding date. Transaction located here. We can now tab between the Account View page and the spreadsheet window to compare fields to confirm that the two transactions are identical. It is clear that the selected transactions are the same and that we have positively confirmed that the two transactions are identical. This process can be repeated for a number of transactions. The selection of sample transactions is important. It is good practice to select a few in the beginning, in the middle and at the end of an input data file. It is important to note that it is possible that some transactions, containing empty values, in important fields, may be omitted from the Account View database. This is expected since there may be some transactions received containing invalid data. However, this does not often occur. This brings us to the end of this training video. Thank you very much for taking part in this training program.